When you crawl out from underneath the covers every morning and you sit on the edge of the bed, you face a decision, a choice that will define who you become today. And the truth is, most people don't even realize how powerful that moment is. But you're wired differently. You're not here to coast. You're here to rise and to rise. You need a goal so strong, so bold, that just chasing it reshapes your life. Ask yourself why. 3 a.m. Why sacrifice? Sleep, comfort, quiet? Because you want more. Because you believe there's more inside you. If I could do it without a father with a teenage mother as a high school dropout, then ask yourself, what could you do now that you know what you know? You have a choice: settle for average or wake up every day like your future depends on it. Because it does. The alarm clock doesn't wake champions. Purpose does. Passion does. Obsession does. No more waiting. No more hoping. This is about doing the work, the real work, the work that nobody sees but everybody feels. When you walk in the room differently, when you show up on fire. So let me ask you, what's your appetite? What are you so hungry for that you're willing to bleed for it? Because when you find that hunger, you won't need motivation. You'll be up before the alarm chasing something greater. There's something primal inside those who truly rise. A fire, a hunger, not the kind you feel in your stomach, but the kind that burns in your spirit. A relentless voice that says, I'm not done yet. I can be more. I will be more. That hunger isn't something you're born with, it's something you choose to feed. Or let D. You've got to ask yourself, what gets you out of bed before the alarm? What gets you to lace up your shoes when it's cold, dark, and no one is watching? What fuels you when you're tired? When your body aches, when your mind screams, take a break. It's not motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like a gust of wind. No, it's discipline. It's the agreement you make with yourself to show up, especially when you don't feel like it. It's brushing your teeth at midnight after a 16-hour day because you said you would. It's showing up at the gym after a breakdown because your goals still matter. It's pushing publish on your work. Even when you're terrified of what people might think, think about the athlete who trains while the competition sleeps. The single mother who works 2 jobs and still studies at night to give her children a better life. The recovering addict who fights temptation every day to stay clean, stay focused, and stay free. These aren't stories of comfort. They're stories of fire, of hunger. Every year, your appetite should evolve. You should want to love deeper, learn faster, lift heavier, dream louder, be better. Why? Because there is no finish line to becoming who you were meant to be. But here's the trap: comfort. Comfort is a seductive liar. It tells you you've done enough. It tells you to settle. But deep down, you know, you feel it. You were built for more. That whisper in your soul when you lay awake at night, it's not anxiety, it's calling. And it won't leave you alone until you answer. Self-belief isn't arrogance. It's refusing to settle for being a background character in your own life. It's looking in the mirror and saying, why not me, before the world gives you permission. It's owning your dream like it's already yours and showing up like a future champion before you ever win the first round. Because most people don't fail from a lack of talent. They fail from a lack of belief. They stop themselves before the world even gets a chance to, but not you. Not now. You've already survived too much to stop short of greatness. So build the habits, create the rituals, wake up early, train your mind, speak life over yourself, do the boring work, do the painful work, do the damn work. Because one day someone will look at your life and call it luck. Let them. You'll know it was hunger, it was discipline, it was a belief, and it was all you. There's a reason you don't feel like everyone else, a reason you think differently, move differently, wake up with a sense of urgency. Most people will never understand. You're not broken. You're wired differently. Is that a difference? It's your gift if you learn how to use it. See, when the average person hears wake up at 4 a.m., they say it's extreme. When you hear it, something inside you stirs. You don't want it easy. You want an edge. Because deep down, you know the world doesn't reward comfort. It rewards hunger. It rewards the relentless. Imagine a lion waking up on the savannah. It doesn't need to be told to hunt. It doesn't negotiate with itself. It doesn't scroll for motivation. The moment it opens its eyes, the hunt begins because survival depends on it. That's how you've got to move through life. With instinct, with force, with intention. The gazelle runs out of fear. The lion moves from purpose. So which one are you? The one running from pressure or the one running into it because you know pressure creates champions? You were not made to coast. You were not designed for the sidelines. You were built for battle, crafted for the chase. That's why you get restless when things are good enough. That's why average feels like agony. You were not made to exist. You were made to hunt, but hunting takes effort. It takes preparation. You don't just wish for the dream, you stalk it. You wake up early, you train, you study, you suffer, you sacrifice, and you do it all without applause, without guarantees, because something inside of you says, this is who I am. And when the others sleep, you move. When they complain, you create. When they doubt, you execute, because that fire in your chest, it's not rage, it's purpose. It's the voice inside you saying go. Now, again, so embrace the wiring. Don't numb it. Don't silence it to fit in. That intensity you feel, it's not too much. It's exactly what greatness requires. Most people want ease. You want a legacy. They want weekends. You want history. They want rest. You want impact. The world doesn't need more passive spectators. It needs more lions. And you were born for the hunt. Every unstoppable human you admire, every leader, every champion, every person who reshaped their life had one thing in common. Why so powerful it made quitting impossible? See, motivation fades, talent plateau, but your why, that's what keeps you alive when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. Your why is your anchor in the storm and your fire in the dark. It's the reason you rise when you've been knocked down 17 times. It's what makes you lace your shoes, show up early, stay late, and do it all again, tomorrow without applause, without guarantees, without anyone watching. Ask yourself, why am I really doing this? What am I chasing that's bigger than money, bigger than praise, bigger than comfort? For some, it's family. For others, it's redemption. For some, it's proving that pain doesn't get the final word. Maybe you're the one in your bloodline who breaks the cycle. Maybe your why is building something your children don't have to recover from. Because when you find your reason, when it burns deep enough, you won't need willpower. You won't need someone to call and remind you. You become the reminder. There will be days when everything feels heavy, when the goal feels far, when you question if it's even worth it. And in those moments, your why speaks. It whispers, we're not done yet. Don't chase success. Chase your reason. Because a man or woman with a strong why becomes unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because they refuse to be moved by anything smaller than their purpose. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Build your habits around it. And when life tries to knock you off track, and it will, you come back to that reason every single time. This is your fire. Protect it, feed it, and let it burn so bright it lights the way for others. The most powerful chains are the ones we never see because they live in our minds, and the hardest prison to break free from is not made of bars or walls, but of stories we've told ourselves over and over again until they became our identity. These stories often start innocently enough, whispered in our heads after a failure, a rejection, a heartbreak, or even an offhand comment from someone who never saw our potential. I'm not smart enough. I always mess things up. This kind of success isn't for people like me. Over time, those sentences stop being fleeting thoughts and become our reality. But let me tell you, that story you keep repeating is not your truth, it's just a habit. And you have the authority, the responsibility, and the power to rewrite it. Think about the script you've been living under. Who wrote it? Was it your past? Your environment? That one moment you failed, and instead of seeing it as a lesson, you decided it was proof. Maybe you've been carrying around someone else's belief system like a second skin. A parent who we didn't believe in you, a teacher who told you to be more realistic, a partner who made you feel small. But none of those voices deserve to narrate your life. The truth is, every story that limits you is just a page waiting to be torn out. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not the worst day you've ever had. And you certainly are not bound by someone else's imagination for your future. Rewriting the story doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It means refusing to let it define what happens next. It means realizing that failure wasn't a full stop. It was just a comma. It means replacing I can't with I haven't yet. It means waking up and choosing to tell yourself something new. I'm capable. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm enough. There's a reason people who've survived the worst often become the strongest. It's because they decided not to let the tragedy be the whole tale. They made a conscious choice to flip the script. Take someone who grew up in poverty, surrounded by violence, barely scraping by. They could have stayed stuck in the narrative of scarcity and hopelessness, but instead they saw their story as fuel. They used their pain as purpose. They decided that their past was not going to be their prophecy, or the woman who was told her whole life she wasn't leader material, only to rise up and build a company that changes lives. Not because someone finally gave her permission, but because she stopped asking for it. These people aren't lucky, they're relentless. And what they did is available to you, because the moment you rewrite the story, you take your power back. You stop asking why me and start asking why not me. You stop living under the ceiling that was built by someone else's fear, and you start building your own foundation based on truth, courage, and vision. You stop seeking validation and start creating it. You stop shrinking and start expanding. This isn't about ego, it's about liberation. It's about finally letting go of the beliefs that were never yours to carry in the first place. So kill the story. Kill the narrative that keeps you playing small, staying safe, or hiding behind what once was. Rip it up, burn it down, mourn it if you must. Then move forward with a blank page and a pen in your hand. This time write a story worth reading. Not just for the world, but for you. A story of resilience, of rising, of taking the pen back and saying, this is my life, and I decide how it's told. Let's make something clear. Fault and responsibility are not the same thing. It might not be your fault that something hurt you, that you were abandoned, that someone betrayed you, that life hit you out of nowhere. But healing, growth, moving forward, that's on you and you alone. Because the truth is, no matter who broke it, you're the one left holding the pieces. And only you can decide what to do with them. It's tempting to stay stuck in blame. When something goes wrong, we want someone to blame. We want justice. We want an apology. We want payback. But while we're waiting for that, while we're pointing fingers, we give away our power, because as long as you stay focused on who hurt you, you're not focused on how you heal. And that is a trap called victimhood. And victimhood feels justified. It even feels comfortable for a while, but it will never lead you to power. Never. So here's what you do instead. Take radical responsibility, not for the past, but for the future. Your future. You don't have to forgive everything overnight. You don't have to pretend the pain didn't happen, but you do have to ask, what now? What can I do with what I've got? How can I turn this into something that serves me instead of something that buries me? Start small. Journal the pain. Then write what you're going to do with it. Take ownership of your morning routine. Wake up earlier and give yourself 1 hour that belongs to you. Read something that lifts you. Move your body, even if it's just a walk. Replace one toxic habit with one powerful one. These aren't grand gestures, they're decisions. Tiny but mighty declarations that say, I'm not a victim of my life, I'm the author of it. If you were abandoned, build a life so full of love and strength that their absence loses power over you. If you were betrayed, build trust with yourself again by keeping the promises you make to yourself every day. If someone tried to break you, show the world and yourself that they didn't succeed, not by pretending it didn't hurt, but by rising anyway. Your trauma may not be your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. And that's not a burden, that's a blessing. Because responsibility is power. When it's your responsibility, it's also your possibility. You can change, you can choose, you can rebuild. And that's where the real story begins, not with what happened to you, but with what you decide to do next. So stop waiting for someone to apologize. Stop waiting for someone to fix it. Stop waiting for someone to come save you. That someone is you. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need everyone to understand. What you need is a decision to take ownership, to take the wheel, to take the broken and build something unbreakable. It's your heart, your life, your happiness, your responsibility, and no one is more qualified to lead you than you. But even after all the work, the discipline, the belief, and the action, you'll still face it. That moment, the invisible wall, the thing that stops most people cold, it's not a failure, it's not fatigue, it's fear. After you've done everything right, fear still finds a way to knock. And this is where many turn back, but not you. Because now you understand something most people don't. The fight isn't out there, it's in here. And if you can win this battle inside, nothing outside can defeat you. Fear is the liar in the back of your mind whispering, what if, until you stop moving. But hear me now. Fear is not real. It only lives in your imagination, in the shadows of a future that hasn't even happened. It feeds on doubt, on worst-case scenarios, on stories that haven't come true and probably never will. Fear doesn't live in facts. It lives in hesitation, in overthinking, in delay, and the longer you listen to it, the louder it becomes. But just because fear shows up doesn't mean you need to obey it. You don't conquer fear by avoiding it. You conquer it by confronting it. You don't run away from the thing that scares you. You run toward it full force, because behind every fear you've ever had is the door to your next level. And the only way through is through. Fear will tell you you're not ready, so act anyway. Fear will tell you you'll fail, so stand anyway. Fear will tell you to wait, so move anyway. The antidote to fear is not more thinking, it's a movement. Fear thrives in stillness, but it dies in motion. And once you understand that, you become dangerous, because nothing can stop someone who refuses to sit still in the presence of fear. It's easy to say you want success, peace, freedom, greatness, but are you willing to walk through fear to claim it? That's the line that separates the dreamers from the doers, because fear will never disappear completely. But you can become bigger than it, bolder than it, louder than it. So the next time fear creeps in, when your chest tightens, your mind races, your hands shake, don't run. Breathe. Ground yourself. Say it out loud. This is fear. This is not reality. I decide what's real. And then take a step forward. Any step, big or small. You'll realize it wasn't a wall, it was a fog. You were never trapped. You were only afraid to see clearly, because you were not built to shrink. You were not designed to live in fear. That fire inside you, that defiance, that resistance to being small, that's your spirit fighting for space. Let it win. Be brave. Not because you don't feel fear, but because you've chosen not to bow to it. You are not your fear. You are your courage. You are your discipline. You are your forward motion. And no illusion, no thought, no memory, no nightmare of the future can stop someone who has decided to walk through fire for their future. You want to be free? Then burn the excuses, burn the doubt, burn the lies, and let the real you rise from the ashes. Fear is not real. It's not a wall. It's not a chain. It's a whisper born in your mind, raised in silence and fed by every moment you hesitated. Fear is the illusion of danger, the shadow of pain that hasn't arrived and may never come. It's not the enemy, it's the ghost you created. Yet you bow to it like it's law. You let it dictate your pace, your choices, your worth, and the cruel irony. The more you run from fear, the more power you give it. The more you avoid it, the larger it becomes. Until one day you're not running from failure, you're running from yourself. Fear thrives in hesitation. That split second where your courage wavers, when you almost said yes, when you almost took the leap, when you almost became who you were meant to be. And the tragedy is, most people live their entire lives in that way, never chasing the life they want, never healing what broke them, never standing fully in their truth because fear whispered, not yet, not you. But here's the truth, no one's coming, no savior, no fairy tale. You've been waiting for closure, for validation, for justice, but what if none of that ever comes? What if healing isn't a gift but a choice? You can't keep handing the keys of your future to people who drove you into the dark. You can't keep saying, look what they did to me, and expect to find light. Because the pain might not be your fault, but the healing, that's all yours. That's where power begins. You can't keep dragging your trauma behind you like a trophy of survival. Yes, you made it through. Yes, they hurt you. But there comes a moment, this moment, when survival is no longer enough. You didn't come this far just to carry the weight. You came to rise, to rewrite, to reclaim. So no more excuses, no more blame, no more telling the story from the wound. Start telling it from the scar. You are not what happened to you. You are what you decided to become after it. Warriors don't wait for apologies. They don't beg for peace. They build it with blood and tears and fire in their chest. This is your line in the sand. No more shrinking. No more silence. You are done rehearsing pain. You are ready to perform power. You've got the pen now. Write the version where you win, and let the world read every word of your comeback. So here's the truth. Fear isn't real. It's a shadow, not a monster. It lives in your mind, not in the world. It's a product of your imagination, a false future playing on a loop. And yet people give up their power to it like it's gospel. But fear only grows in hesitation. It feeds off of pause, off of doubt. And every second you pull back instead of pushing forward, it takes ground. So stop feeding it. Stop worshiping it. You don't kill fear by avoiding it. You kill it by acting anyway. And while we're being honest, stop pointing fingers. Your pain may not be your fault, but your healing, your peace, that's yours. It's not your parents' job to make you whole. It's not your ex's job to give you closure. It's not the world's job to hand you justice. It's yours. Because your life, your heart, your joy, your future is your responsibility and yours alone. That's not cruel. That's empowering. Because if it's up to you, then no one gets to take it away. Most people never rise, not because they're broken, but because they're still waiting for the apology, waiting for someone to fix what hurt them. But warriors don't wait. Warriors rebuild. They take that pain, those scars, that unfair story, and they write a new ending. So if you're still standing, still breathing, stop wasting time blaming. Get up. Own every piece of your story, the ugly, the heavy, the beautiful, and write a new one. No one's coming to save you. But you're enough. You always have been, This isn't the end. This is where your real life begins. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up not just for this message, but for yourself. I don't take your time or your attention lightly, and if you made it this far, I know there's a fire inside you that's ready to burn brighter than ever. My wish for you is simple but powerful. May you have the courage to face yourself honestly, the strength to rewrite your story, and the discipline to show up even when it's hard. May you stop settling for almost and start chasing what sets your soul on fire. And most of all, may you never forget that everything you need is already within you. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you fully awake, fully alive, and fully committed to becoming who you were born to be. Keep going. Keep growing. And no matter what, don't you ever quit on yourself. I'll see you at the top.